I think it's increasingly clear that daratumumab is going to become an important component of therapy in newly diagnosed multiple myeloma patients, not only in transplant ineligible patients, but now transplant eligible patients as well. With regards to transplant ineligible patients, we have the Alcyone and Maya studies that clearly support a role for incorporating daratumumab into frontline therapy. Alcyone incorporated daratumumab into the bortezomib melphalan prednisone backbone. And in that particular study, we saw an improvement in depth of response with the addition of DARA, and that translated not only into an improvement in progression-free survival, but an improvement in overall survival as well, and progression-free survival too. When we look at the Maya study, this was one that looked at daratumumab um, in addition to lenalidomide and dexamethasone for newly diagnosed patients. And again, we see an improvement in depth of response with the addition of DARA to the Len-Dex backbone. And this translates into a very clear improvement in progression-free survival and generally well-tolerated therapy. In the transplant-eligible space, we have initially the Cassiopeia trial, which incorporated daratumumab into the bortezomib thalidomide dexamethasone backbone for newly diagnosed transplant-eligible patients. The daratumumab was given as part of 4 cycles of induction therapy, as well as 2 cycles of post-transplant consolidation. And what this particular study showed is that depth of response, as measured by stringent complete response or MRD negativity, was improved by adding DARA into the VTD backbone, both in induction and consolidation. And this did translate into an improvement in progression-free survival and allowed for regulatory approval of that particular 4-drug combination for transplant-eligible patients. However, in the United States and increasingly in other parts of the world, lenalidomide, not thalidomide, with bortezomib and dexamethasone has become the standard of care, backbone for newly diagnosed patients. So the GRIFFIN trial, is very similar in construct to the Cassiopeia trial. It was a randomized phase 2 study that looked at the addition of daratumumab into the RVD backbone for newly diagnosed transplant-eligible patients. And what we've shown in that study is that by the end of consolidation therapy post-transplant, the addition of daratumumab clearly led to an improvement in depth of response relative to the control arm, whether you measure that by stringent complete response or MRD negativity. And importantly, at this year's ASH, we will be updating, our experience in the GRIFFIN trial and basically showing increasing numbers of patients achieving stringent CR and MRD negativity over the first year of their maintenance therapy.